So I wanted to make a video about the Emperor, number 4 in the major arcana in the tarot deck, because I couldn't find one that just talked about who this is. I'm not going to talk about what it means if it comes up in your reading, because it's going to be different for every single reading, whether it comes up as a person or whether it comes up as an energy. Yeah, but as a card, and what it represents is a man sitting in his power. He's the divine masculine. The Emperor is the counterpart to the Empress, and he's an authority figure. He's a leader. He's somebody that people look up to. They turn to him for respect. They've got respect for him. They turn to him when, in times of need. They know they can rely on this person. He's so solid and stable, and his mind is logical and rational. He doesn't let his emotions rule his life. He rules his emotions, and he keeps his emotions locked far away and protected. Yeah, so that's kind of his persona. He's not somebody that you want to fuck with. Like, even though he's, got a quietness about him, he's wise. He's got all of those years of experience that you can see reflected in that grey beard there. He's learned his lessons along the way, and he's built his empire. He's sitting on the top of the mountain now. That's his mountain. It's his world. He lives by his rules. He knows his value. He knows what he wants, and he knows how he's going to live his life, and nobody's going to mess with that. Anybody who wants to step into the domain of this Emperor, they're going to do it his way. But the way that he is, and the way that he's manifested in himself, is that, people respect that about him, and they're more than happy to do that, because he is a natural leader, and his ways are wise, and his reasons for sitting in his power the way he does is because it works, and it works for him, and that's really all that really matters at the end of the day for him, is that this works for him. So he's built his whole empire. You can see all the mountains behind him. That's where he lives. So he lives on the top of his mountain, and he's protecting it. He's got the key of life in one hand, and he's got the world in the other hand. He wears his crown with pride, and he's quite guarded in his facial expression. You can't tell what he's thinking, but he also looks approachable, and he's got a good heart, and he's very kind, and he'll be the type of person that will consider other people's needs when, because he's wise. He's somebody that's learned along the way that, to be able to get what you want in life, and to be able to have what you want, you need to be able to be, very strict in how you go about doing things. And this man does not waver from what he believes in. He's very strong in his own values and beliefs, and that exudes as power from him. That's where his power comes from, in his own beliefs of who he is and how he wants to live his life. So people respect him. He's a very good leader. He's a hard worker, and in this card he's sitting up there saying, this is it, this is me, and this is my home, and this is what I've built, and I'm going to protect it with everything I've got, and if you try to cross me, I'm going to fuck you up. He's not going to be a fighter unless he's provoked, but if he is provoked, he will fight to protect what he has built and what is his, and what is his world. So the world that he's got in his left hand, that symbolizes his world, and that's his home, his people, his ways, his beliefs, his values, the things that he loves, the people that he loves, his family, his friends, the way he wants to do things, the way he wants to live his life. He's protecting that, and that's about him. So the red robe, that represents his passion. He's so driven and so determined and so passionate, and he's extremely deep, and he's fully manifested. Beneath his red robes, you can see that his body is actually covered in armor. So this is a man who doesn't show his emotions, And, you know, a lot of people will look at him and think that he might not have any because, you know, his darker side, because we've all got dark and light sides, the darker side or the shadow side of the Emperor is that he can probably be very ruthless and cold and calculating and even manipulative, um, and secretive. But, you know, that's the way it is. Like, you know, everybody has that light and dark shade, and that is his. But yeah, so for those reasons, of that armor that he's got on, you kind of not going to know what he's really thinking deep inside his heart. You know, he's going to come off as fair and light-hearted, and, you know, he's going to be holding people's hands and walking them down paths and helping them along the way. And if somebody says, hey, you know, like, what should I do here, or what can I do, is that he'll jump in there and help out, and show them the best way to do something. And he'll do it in such a way that, you know, they'll have so much respect for him. People have so much respect for the Emperor, because he's just so logical and so easy to kind of be around, because he's so comfortable within his own skin and his own world. But yeah, so behind that armor though, that's where the buck stops for this man. The Emperor he will have to trust you 100%, and he might test you and test you before he'll let anybody through, um, to see what's behind the armor. And, you know, a lot of people might think that there isn't anything behind there, that's just cold or just calculated, or, you know, it's just all about them. But that's not actually true. In the picture you can see the mountains behind him, the vast mountain range that is his home. But right down the bottom you can see a river flowing down there, a huge river. It's far down behind the throne, behind at the bottom of the valley, at the foot of the mountains, and that represents his emotions. So they're deep and they're there, but they're well guarded by that armor. And yeah, this is a man who, that as an emperor, he's protecting what's his, and his heart and his depth and, you know, his softness, they belong to him, and he will do everything to protect them. Yeah, so that's about the Emperor. He's the counterpart to the Empress. He, as the divine masculine, gives the Empress, who's his counterpart, what she needs, and what she needs is stability and security, and, you know, that guiding hand, that rational and logical, solid foundation, the father figure, the power, and somebody that can stand and protect her, because the Empress is the other half of what the Emperor is. It's the softer side, the feminine side, the beauty, the magic, the abundance, the unconditional love, the nurturing, caring. That's what the Empress is, the giving. She gives to everybody. She's fertility, and she's Venus, and she's life, and she's beauty and creativity and art, and she's all of the beautiful aspects of the feminine side of nature and of humanity, that complements the Emperor. So any woman who's an Empress wants the Emperor to be her man, because he's the shit. And the two of them go together, and one without the other is empty inside. And, you know, people can walk through life, an emperor can walk through life wielding his power, building his empire, protecting his home, protecting his lands, protecting his values and beliefs, and putting his energy into, you know, building that empire, and building his success, and, you know, leading his people. But that softer side that's behind his armor, if he doesn't have his Empress there to bring it out, you know, it will just stay hidden behind there, and sit far away, and be a bit of an empty void, that can often turn dark and manifest in ways that, you know, the Emperor might start to show more of his shadow attributes. A younger man who is stepping into his power, who is the Emperor, but is not quite sitting up there on his throne with his grey beard yet. He's still walking that, he's still on his journey, and building his empire in the younger days. They might find that, you know, the trials and tribulations that they've gone through might manifest as a little bit of a shadow side if they haven't met their Empress, because there will be that longing and that emptiness there, that their masculine hasn't met their feminine, and that's an unfulfilled part of them. So the Emperor needs the Empress, and the Empress needs the Emperor, because without her Emperor, her unconditional love and her beauty and her creativity and her nurturing and her desire to give love is not checked. She lacks the stability, and that's what the Emperor brings to her. She doesn't have the stable protection of the rational and logical mind that the Emperor has got. He holds that. She holds more of a dreamy and an openly loving kind of energy that spreads, you know, far and wide. And she's the kind of person that, you know, she'll be kind and giving to anybody that she meets, and she gives her love and it goes unchecked. So, but without the Emperor by her side, she also is unfulfilled. Yeah, so the Emperor is Mars and the Empress is Venus, and the two of them, they go together. And that's about the Emperor.